Alright, so I am in the process of changing out this pulley right here on the air conditioning compressor. And what I did was, you obviously have to take the front passenger side wheel off of this, and then this whole plastic shroud that was up inside on this side over here has it's got some little folds there at the top that you don't even have to disconnect this whole side of the shroud, which I already popped out a couple of the little spacer deals. There's one right there and one down here. I already popped those out before I realized that I wasn't even going to need to take this side off, because it's designed that when you remove that side, this whole thing just folds back so it's out of your way. I just put it behind the disc. So what I'm doing is just figuring out where the tensioning pulley is, which it's right there. That little nub on the end there, I think, is going to fit a socket, or not, either a socket or a box end wrench, that I can push it that way and release the tension. So I'm going to try that here right quick. Actually record while I'm doing it here. Let's see if this one will fit. Son of a gun, if that's not the one I need. That is it. So supposedly you're supposed to be able to just shift it this way. Yeah, and that's got some play in it. That's loosening the belt up when I do that. So I'm going to need both hands here to do that. Put this down for just a second. Come on, baby. You know you want to come off of there. There it is. Got it. Okay. And we'll let that back the rest of the way. So, I don't know how much of that you're actually able to see, but I got it off of there now. Now the difficulty is going to be trying to get this center bolt out of there, because this thing turns. Okay, so continuing here, I got my impact wrench here and put a 10mm socket on the end of it, tucked it up on there, and it pulled that thing right off without batting an eye. So oh, and by the way, the closed end wrench that's necessary to move that pulley is a 14mm. I use this one right here. So yep, that's a 14, and that worked like a charm. I was surprised that, as short as it is, it had the leverage to get that off of there. So I'll come back here in a couple minutes. All right, so we're back. So what it took to loosen this front part up was a good heavy-duty pocket knife worked under the edge of this thing between this and the front pulley plate, and I just kept working it and working it and working it. Finally got it down in there, and then I had to go on one side with the knife and on the other side with a screwdriver, prying that off of there. So now I'm really taking my time getting it off, because to my understanding there are little washers in there somewhere that act as shims, and they have to be perfectly replaced in the way that they came out, or the alignment of the new pulley is going to be screwed up and will tear your belt up when you put it all back together. So I got to carefully take this off of here, and I guess I will go ahead and try to work it the rest of the way off while I'm on camera. Okay, I'm back. So it turns out that where those shims were was actually down inside this pulley. This is the pulley that I just took off of the front of that right there, and when you look inside there were actually two more of these tiny shim washers that I got out with my little dental pick tool there. But here they are. They say that you have to keep those and use them again on the new pulley, so that it'll have the exact gap on it it's supposed to have off of the magnet and everything in there. So this is my next thing. I gotta you got to take that snap ring out right there in the center. So I got to go get my snap ring pliers, and then hopefully that whole thing is going to pull off of there and let me access the magnet that's back inside, which has to unplug and go back on. So we'll see what we get with the next step here. At the point where I have pulled the pulley off, I used an 8-inch gear puller, 3-jaw puller, and it worked, but it was actually too big. I should have had a 6-inch, but they didn't have any when I went to buy it, so I ended up using an 8-inch. But what I did find out, this is the windshield washer fluid tank, and what I found was that if I took that bolt out right there, that this whole tank then would shift up and to the side and out of the way, that you can get the puller on there the way that you need to. So was actually able to use that to pull that off. And then when I got down in to where this this coil is, it's mounted with 3 screws, one right there, one right there, and another one right there, mounted to the front of this and plugged in right there, mounted with the 3 screws, and then the whole thing goes back together in reverse. So I'm going to continue working on that. This actually, you don't need a puller or anything to get this off. This is loose, and I can just pull it out of here, but you can see where the spot on this is burned up, and so I'm really hoping that that's why this thing is not working, because this is just a shot in the dark replacing this whole assembly. But I got a brand new coil in here and clutch and the whole assembly. It costs 99 bucks on eBay. So I'm gonna proceed to take that apart and put the new one on. Okay, so I've got the new coil positioned here. I've got it plugged in up around here. That plug, you have to push on the far side of the fitting. On the front face of it, you got to push it down to get it to release. And then when you get the new one plugged in, you have to slide the whole fitting onto a little metal post that sticks out of the front of that thing there to keep it fixed in position. So now I'm going to put the 3 screws in here and then proceed to put the front part of the clutch on. So we'll come back in a minute when that's on. Okay, so I've got the new coil screwed down, and I am just about to begin tapping this new clutch assembly onto the center shaft, and I'm going to use this dead blow hammer. Well, at any rate, I'm going to hold this up with one hand, and I'm going to tap this very gently in the center on here as I go. So I'll come back in a minute when it's on. All right, so that is tapped all the way on, and the one thing you have to make sure of is that you get it far enough on that the groove inside here that my fingernail is sticking into right now is open enough that you can put the snap ring. Where's my new snap ring? Well, of course I don't see it at the moment, but this is the original that came off of the old one, and the new one needs to go right there on that to hold this all in place, and then the outer plate goes on with the center bolt holding it in. And the shims, those 3 little shims I found, I already put them down inside the new one, so that the spacing should be perfectly fine on that when it's all done. Okay, finally got it all back on. Tapped the pulley on with the dead blow, got the snap ring in place, and put the cover plate back on. But it turned out that the little shim washers that came off of the old one were not enough of a gap on the new one, so I ended up having to use 2 or 3 of the new shim washers in addition to the ones that came off of the old one, because with the new clutch came the instructions that the gap was supposed to be 0.016 to 0.025 inch to use a feeler gauge on it, and I went around and around and around putting in more, taking out one, and then it would tighten down too much, and so I finally have it at about I think it's about 0.024, so hopefully that's going to work. So I'm going to put a new belt on while I'm at it, so that's a bonus thing for this video, that you get to see a new Serpentine belt get put on, presuming of course that there's nothing in the way of that happening. It looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward, because it looks like and I know you can't see up there very well, but I'll go up top and take a quick look at how that is routed. The only pulley that needs to go around up here on the top is the alternator. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that new one on. In fact, I think I will this actually balance here? Holy smokes, it will. So I think I can get this done with that balanced on there. If I can just take this off the alternator, and then I'll start my new one up there and work it down and around, if I can get the clearance to do it while the old one's still on there, and not knock my phone down in there at the same time. I think I'm gonna have to pull this down from below. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I can get it through there enough. Let's see how that's going to work from underneath. See if I can pull the old one out and pull the new one down while I'm at it. Okay. All right, so the new one needs to go there and around this one. So let me pull the old one down, and then I'll pull the new one down at the same time. Get the new one on the alternator up top, if I can. There we go. Then it goes around the tensioner pulley, around the crankshaft pulley, around the new clutch pulley, and then all I have to do is get a wrench on my tensioner, and hopefully we'll be in business. Is this my 14? Now I just gotta put enough pressure on it to get it to drop onto that or water pump. Now that's not the water pump, that's the idler. So pretty sure I got all that right. There it is. Oops. Well, and of course, that's not right on my alternator, I don't think.
But it actually is right.
I think that's
The alignment was perfect on that, and everything worked fine, and wrapped it up. So that was all I needed to do. Air conditioning worked fine when I fired it back up again. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped you out. Have a good day.
Let's see.